As we think about driving towards a digital grid, critically important as we think about decarbonizing the environment. I think it's also important that we don't forget the physical grid. And whether that's our wires or the natural gas pipes, that infrastructure is going to be critical. And we think about needing, as more and more of the world becomes, more and more of our customers use more and more of our product, the reliability and resilience of our system becomes more and more important. So, I always start, when we think about the digital grid, I always start with, let's not forget the physical grid. If we can't move the electrons, having a digital grid, moving the photons isn't going to help any, right? So that I think that's a critical, and I think it was highlighted just, as we're speaking here with Hurricane Ian that's blowing through Florida. And we see it even up here. The storms are more frequent and they're more intense than they have been. So making those investments, is going to be part of the story as well.
Yeah, I fully agree. You can't really separate the digital from the physical. Things like feeder reinforcements, for example, we'll need a lot more of that to support increased need for electricity in certain points, whether it's for EV charging, whatever the case is. The communications network to support the increased number of devices that you need on the network to communicate with, to provide information back to the grid. Monitoring tools like you have with advanced distribution management systems or distributed energy management systems. Those are all critical infrastructure needs that go hand in hand with the digital grid to support that. You talk about resiliency. Ian is a great example. I think latest figure I saw was more than 2 million customers out. Right? That's very significant. And you think through, with these extreme weather events, what we're seeing all over the country and the globe, really. How can a more digital grid support that, right? Whether it's localized green power that acts as a backup, whether it's wind, battery, whatever the case is. That's all. Those are all things that we're seeing that are in real time or near real time that really make the case for the investments in digitizing the grid.
Yeah. And as I've been talking to some of our employees recently, I talked about the fact we're becoming more of a technology company than we ever have been, right? So, our investments, when we look at the communications, you look at the IT systems that support it, the software, the hardware. I mean, we literally are spending billions of dollars, not on wires and pipes, but rather on the technology behind it to support that. And the systems are becoming increasingly sophisticated as you think about distributed energy resources and managing those. Some of those systems to do that, the software is literally just being created, as we speak.
Absolutely. I'm seeing that all over the country now, where DERMS implementations or whatever the case is. They're certainly climbing up the maturity curve, but yeah, this is all new, and technology has been a great catalyst, but really the real demand is coming from customers, right? There's a real business need and customer need for this, and now technology has come quite a ways over the past few years to enable a lot of the things that we've been talking, the ideas that we've been talking about for many years. DERMS is a great example.
And I think, when you talk about digitizing the grid and customers, I think the other side of that digitization is in any industry or any place, customers, whether big, small, commercial, residential, they want choice and they want control over what they use, right? And as we're beginning to put that technology in place, smart meters, the smart grid, to your point, being able to hook up, DERMS across the board to allow customers to get that choice and control. And when we talk about community solar, when I lived in DC, I lived in a condominium. I had no place to put solar panels, right? Mm-hmm. However, if I could buy, into a community solar project, that would have been a great thing. Or if I owned solar on my house, to be able to sell to my brother, cousin, mother, whatever, So I think for customers too, when we think about decarbonizing climate change, giving customers that control, that choice, is going to be really important. And that's also, I think, what the digital grid is going to do.
Absolutely, and customers crave that. I mean, they want to be an active participant in this energy equation, right? And in order to enable that, the utility plays a significant part, because you own the data, the information that these customers need to make decisions for themselves. I think that's only going to continue to grow in the future as we are able to digitize, provide them with more information, more choice, and have them really be at the forefront of driving this, this revolution that we're going through right now.
And I think it also gets to, think about high inflation, think about where customers are, it also gets to affordability, right? So as you think about, rising energy prices potentially, the fact that I now have more choices and I have more control as a consumer is going to be very important, as we go forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with DERs, where we're going is real-time pricing, and with that, you're able to do things like peak shaving and other, deployment of the most energy-efficient resources to serve your load. And that's not only good for the environment; it's also good for the customers in terms of financially incentivize them to make.
Well, you think about
right
even
choices.
just electric vehicles, right? And real-time pricing. When do I charge my vehicle? Well, I have the ability to feed my vehicle back into the grid, and FERC's recent order 2222, right, to allow that kind of aggregation to begin to allow customers to be able to do that. So the industry is pushing that way. Regulators are pushing us that way.
Yeah, absolutely.